Right, so this video is for the force assessment that you're scheduled to do, right? Um, it's supposed to be done from between week 2 to 3, and seeing that we're in week 3 already, I would hope that you finish this off before this week is out, right? Now, this construction is similar to the one that we've done last term, right? So, the only difference that, or the only change that I've made is that I've changed it from pentagon to hexagon, I think, and you have to do an enlargement as well as a reduction, right? So some of the things that we'll be doing in the construction would basically be a recap. So hopefully, or not even hopefully, um, I basically shouldn't be going over these minor things because it would only add to the length of the video, right? So first things first, it's a regular hexagon and the sides are equal to 60 mm, right? We have to construct a regular hexagon first. So usually you would set your units, and I don't think I need to explain that. We've done that before. You would also set your layers. Well, all of these are basically from the last construction. So I'm just going to be renaming them, right? So one of them could be for the hexagon. I'm going to leave outline. One of them could be for the reduction. And you know what? I'm going to change the outline one to enlargement. Alright? So the number of layers here, you don't really have to use back the same layers as me. I'm basically just using it to differentiate between different things in the construction, which you should also use to do, right? So we're just going to change to the hexagon layer. And to make your life easier on the draw section here, right? You notice that there's a rectangle symbol here, right? And there's an arrow next to it. So if you click on that, you can choose the polygon option, right? It's going to ask you to enter the number of sides first. We know it's a hexagon. A hexagon has 6 sides, so you can type in 6 and you can press enter. Then it's going to ask you to specify either the center of the polygon or the edge, right? So we're going to remain with the center of the polygon. Now, the next option that is going to ask you is if this polygon is inscribed in a circle or circumscribed. So, inscribed means that the polygon is inside of a circle, and circumscribed means that the circle is within the polygon, right? So we're going to keep the first option here, which is inscribed in circle. So it's going to ask us to specify the radius, and we're going to use the same measurement as the sides, which is 60. So this is our pentagon, hexagon here, sorry, right? And I'm pretty sure if I measure it, all of the sides should be equal to 60, as you can see here, right? Good. So we can look back at the question here now. We finished the first part, which is constructing the hexagon. And the next part is the enlargement, right? We have to use a ratio of 5 to 3, right? And the other part is the reduction using a ratio of 3 to 5. So I'm going to do the reduction first before I do the enlargement, right? So I'm just going to switch back to my default layer here, and we know that the ratio that's being used here is 3 to 5, right? So we're going to divide one side here into 5 equal parts since the ratio is 3 to 5. And we've done this last term using the arc tool, so I shouldn't be going over these things, right? So you're going to be scribing arcs of equal measurement until you have 5 arcs here. Right, so all of these things we actually did last term. The only difference was that you've done it using a pentagon, right? So just like last term, we copied the arcs and we're also copying the lines here to each of the arcs, right? Which should be simple for you because we've done all of this, right? I'm going to just trim off the extra there. So we have 5 line divisions there. I'm not going to label, I'm going to leave the labeling up to you, right? Because like I said, we did that last term. Plus, you have access to the YouTube video, right? So, since it's the reduction, we're going to switch to the reduction layer. And seeing that we want to reduce this figure here, we need to draw in the diagonals, right? So, you're going to draw this one. You're going to draw this one. And the next one here. Right? Now, if you notice, the hexagon is regarded as one shape here, right? I can't have it in individual lines. So if I want to have it individually, there is a tool that's called the explode tool, as you can see where my mouse is, right? So like it says there, it breaks a compound object into its components. So you click on explode and you select the hexagon there and you press the enter key. So now it's going to break up the hexagon into its own um, components, right? So now we could actually copy this line here. So division 3 here, number 3. And we could take out this extra here. And then we could copy this next line here to where this one here ends. Take out the extra. And you basically repeat back the same step here. Copy. Paste on the last line. Trim out the extra. Copy here. And paste on the last line here. And you trim out the extra, right? So the lines that we just copied there, we could basically change it to the reduction layer. And that's going to be your reduction, right? So I'm just going to copy back this hexagon here for the enlargement. So you can select back the hexagon alone. Copy. And I'm just going to move it over here for the enlargement. Right? So it's better if you do it separately because you're going to have less confusion. Right? So let's switch to the default layer and let's look back at the question. For the enlargement, you have to enlarge it using the ratio 5 to 3. Right? So since the ratio is 5 to 3 and it's an enlargement, we would be dividing this line here, which would be divide it into a number of three equal parts, right? The last number in the ratio. So this one was 5 divisions because the ratio was 3 to 5. And this one is going to be 3 divisions because the ratio is 5 to 3, right? So just like how you did the first one, the only difference is that you divide the line into 3 equal parts, right? So it's going to be 3 arcs. So we're going to take out the extra there, connect here to the last line, and it's basically the same steps again, right? The only thing that change is the number of divisions, right? And as always, you trim out the extra. So what we're going to do now, we're going to switch to the enlargement layer, and the same baseline that we have here, we're going to extend it. But before you extend, please make sure that you have ortho mode on. You don't want to mistake and draw a slant line, right? So this extension could basically be any length, right? Because you could always trim out the extra, right? So I'm just going to take off ortho mode now, and I'm going to switch back to my default layer. Alright? Now, seeing that the ratio is 5 to 3, right? Remember we only did 3 divisions here. So when you minus 3 from 5, you're left with 2, right? We need to know the distance here for one division, right? So according to my construction here, the measurement is 20, right? So using your arc tool, you're going to scribe a 20 mm arc, like so, from the end of the hexagon, right? And seeing that it's 2 more arcs you need to have, you can just copy the arc and paste it again here, right? So that's going to give you 0.4 and 0.5, right? And now we can start drawing our enlargement. But before we do that, we need to draw the diagonals first. And just like the construction last storm, you want to lengthen these diagonals, right? Please don't make the mistake of choosing the stretch option. You want to lengthen the diagonal, right? So now we could copy this side and paste it on 0.5, and we could lengthen this to just pass the diagonal there and just take out the extra that you have there, right? Same thing for the next side. So you see, the steps are always repeating, right? And we lengthen this here to meet the diagonal, right? And you take out the extra. Same thing here. Copy, paste, and lengthen to meet the diagonal. Take out the extra. Copy this one, paste, and for this one, seeing that there's no diagonal, what we do, we lengthen it to any measurement basically, and we lengthen the final side here, just like the pentagon from last storm, and we take out the extra, right? And I'm also going to take out the extra on this side here. So now for the enlarged figure here, you could change the layer to an enlargement. And that's your reduction over here. And this is your enlargement. So your job now is to do your labeling just like you've done last storm for the pentagon. And what I also would like for you to do, I would like for you to dimension one side of each hexagon here, right? We looked at the dimension in the last class, right? Please remember to modify your dimensioning, right? Mine is already modified, but I'm not going to show you how to dimension again.